For the French Throwdown, I'm Chase Ingram along with Lucy Campbell and Lauren Smith. 3 heats down, 1 heat to go. Your top 10 after 2 events. Uldis Ubenic's back-to-back wins to start the weekend. Luka Vunjak sitting at 191, but Anyolo Kai, we just saw him set the time to beat. He's holding on to that 10th coveted position. 9:23.45 as we have 10 athletes to see if they can beat that time. 7 rounds for time, 10 cal echo bike, 1 legless climb, 10 box jump overs at 30 inches, followed by another legless climb, except for that 7th and final round, as they'll sprint straight to the finish line after the 10. And go ruck steps of success, Lucy.
So number 1, we've got know your pulling capacity. This is a high volume of legless rope climbs. Number 2 is pacing. So we want to ride that line of pushing hard enough so that we can get off the box or the echo and straight into the legless rope climb movements.
Your lane assignments for the 4th and final heat of individual event number 3. Uldis Ubenic's back-to-back wins, as we said, to start the weekend. And you couldn't have asked for a better start for Uldis trying to make his way back to the CrossFit Games. I tell you what, we talked about this yesterday. He looks lean, he looks fast, and he's showing it this weekend.
Yeah, 2 for 2 after the first 2 events. He's looking dangerous.
Michael Smith, sitting in lane number 3, is looking to try to make it back to the CrossFit Games for the first time since 2019. Heat number 4 is off. 10 athletes trying to best the time of 9:23.45 set by Anyolo Kai. Win a CrossFit World Tour visiting CrossFit gyms around the globe. Create an account, scan the QR code, or visit hustleup-app.com to enter. That's all it takes. The drawing will take place June 20th in 2024, and there he goes, just like we have seen for 2 straight events. Uldis Ubenic's making quick work of that first rope climb. It's a faster event than you would think, especially with these athletes, as Henrik Häppalainen is just getting off the bike down in lane number 9, and that is not anything I would have thought see come from an athlete like him. 10 box jump overs. Lazar Jukic has moved in as Jelle Hosta. So Lazar Jukic won the 2023 Europe semifinal. As he makes his way back to the bike, Uldis Ubenic's making his way up, finishing out his first round. Lazar Jukic sitting in 3rd overall. Let's go down to Lauren Smith.
The question coming into the weekend was, can Lazar make it 3, wasn't it? But actually, he's had a totally different off-season. He left Mayhem, returned to his old coach from ATP Lab Programming, and he's completely changed his approach to the semi-finals. He feels that in previous years, he's peaked too early, and this time it's about booking his ticket and focus on breaking the top 5 at the CrossFit Games.
Lazar Jukic now trying to keep pace with Jelle Hosta as Uldis Ubenic's is off the bike. This is still round number 2 as they move to the box. The top part of your screen in lane number 2 in the all-black, Jelle Hosta, who burst onto the scene. He'd been around a while, but he did not have the breakthrough performance that we were going to expect, winning 3 events last year at the 2023 Europe semifinal. Finish in the top 10, and some would argue should have been the Rookie of the Year last year.
Yeah, I will be honest, I was disappointed that he wasn't. You know, finishing in 10th, that's super impressive for a rookie, and he had an event win in there as well, so that's the kind of things that you look for. There's just a lot of athletes to choose from in that circumstance.
Jelle Hosta starting round number 3. 10 athletes on the floor chasing the time set by Anyolo Kai in heat 3 of 9:23.45. But the next 7 times after that are all within 30 seconds. Just to the right, Michael Smith in the maroon as Jelle Hosta's off the box, or off the bike. And Lucy, you were talking about this earlier about size mattering in this event, and you wouldn't really say gymnastics is for a big boy workout, but with the box jumps and the bike and it being a legless spread out between the 2, you think that's an advantage.
Yeah, exactly. I think, you know, with that step down, but also then when you go to the legless rope climbs and you've got a tall athlete that already can take a nice big jump, Jelle Hoste looks like he's taking 2 pulls every time before he touches, whereas it's the shorter guys who obviously can't jump as high. The other thing is when you look at someone like Upenix coming down, he's got those extra steps every rep before he goes into the next one. He got a no rep in the first one because he jumped off the box. It was more of a kind of controlled fall off it, but it's those little things that are meaning that he's slow on that box, whereas Hoste is nice and fast.
Lazar Jukic sitting in the center part of your screen, trying to keep pace with Jelle Hoste. We're approaching the 4-minute mark. 16 minutes to cap. No one's needed that so far. And the battle for second is on the right side of your screen between Lazar Jukic, Uldis Upenix, and Luka Vunjak. Sorry, that's Luka Jukic, who needs him to have a bounce-back event after what happened to him in event number 2. The Jukic brothers right next to each other, side by side. As Colin Bossard on the far right side of your screen in lane 8, who's sitting in 6th overall, is hanging tight with the Jukic brothers. But Jelle Hoste on the left side of your screen, one of the tallest athletes in the field, assumed it'd be a disadvantage in most, say, CrossFit movements are not their best friend, but in this format put together, you couldn't build a better event for Jelle Hoste. Guy can smash on the bike, has great upper body pulling capacity, and that box side, as you were talking about Uldis, less of a factor of that mandatory step down.
Yeah, exactly. Although interestingly, when you watch him on the box, he looks like he's only just making it over every time, and whether that's efficient or whether actually he just doesn't have that leg power, it's just interesting to see considering he is taller.
Uldis Upenix, who has won back-to-back events, was leading after the first round, is now falling behind, in danger of being last in this heat next to Luka Vunjak. Jelle Hoste off the bike, 5:40 on the clock. Hand in the air for Luka Jukic on the right side of your screen. Hand in the air for Colin Bossard. Jelle Hoste is done with his rope climb. Looking to close out round number 5, 7 total rounds in this event.
Split time from this one in the last heat after round 5 was 6:41, so it'll be interesting to see. Looks like he's on to beat it, but it's just a good indication of who's going to win this event.
Right side of your screen, Lazar Jukic, Luka Jukic, the Jukic brothers keeping pace with Jelle Hoste, about 6 reps behind. Here comes Colin Bossard at the bottom part of your screen. Henrik Hoppalainen, who was last to the box after the first round. It looked like they might have, maybe you got a no rep on the first rope climb. That's the only way to really describe what put him there, so he might make a charge here, but Jelle Hoste, as he said, it's a split time of right around 6:40, 7 seconds ahead of the pace set by Anyola Kai. Lazar Jukic in the white shirt, making his way back to the box, closing out round number 6. Round number 5, excuse me, 2 rounds left to go. Luka Vunjak, who is sitting in a top position, 2nd overall, is in danger of getting lapped by Jelle Hoste, as him and Uldis Upenix are actually sitting 1st and 2nd. Vunjak with the 3rd and 2nd place. Uldis, as we saw, 2 first place finishes, are now in the bottom 2 in this heat. Jelle Hoste done with his first climb to start round number 6. Here comes Lazar Jukic making his way up the rope, makes the touch. Luka Jukic off the bike, coming to the rig. Keep your eye on Henrik Hoppalainen, top part of your screen in the black tank top, to try to make a push here towards the end. That's Lazar Jukic just ahead of his brother Luka. Both men trying to catch Jelle Hoste, left side of your screen. As we are approaching the 8-minute mark in the last round of this event.
You can see what I mean there about that deep squat position that he lands in.
Right side of your screen, Henrik Hoppalainen is trying to push for a top position in this heat. Colin Bossard to his left. Jelle Hoste is done. He has 1 round left to go. Here comes Lazar Jukic. Here comes Luka. 10 reps behind Jelle. Now in this 7th round, it's a sprint chipper to the finish. 10 cals on the bike. 1 legless rope climb, 10 box jump overs. We are 1 minute away from the time to beat set by Anyolo Kai in heat number 3, 9:23.45. Jelle Hosta, 5 cows left on the bike. Lazar Jukic trying to lean into it. Can he keep pace with Jelle? Jelle's off the bike, 40 seconds to the time. Last rep's done. 10 box jump overs, 30 inches. Your top 2 on the right side getting lapped by Jelle Hosta.
Oh, he nearly jumped off that box.
Jelle Hosta getting really close to the left side of that box. Jelle Hosta, left side of your screen, 5 reps to go, 20 seconds to get there. 7 reps for Jelle Hosta, 2 more to go. 20 seconds. 9:23 is the time. Jelle Hosta gets over the box, gets across the finish line, and gets 100 points. Luka Jukic put on the jets to get ahead of Lazar, so he'll get a much-needed second place in the heat. Anyolo Kai's time will at least stand for second overall in the event. Lazar Jukic across the finish line. Here comes Colin Bossard, Henrik Hapalainen. But keep in mind, we had 7 athletes in the previous heat from 9:23 to 10 minutes in that time frame. So now these times are mattering. And Uldis, who was running away with the competition after 2 events, might see it slipping away of his fingers in this last part. 10 minutes in, 16-minute cap. We know at least 15 athletes are ahead of where Uldis Upenix is right now, just out of the last 2 heats. Luka Vunjak still on the bike. 5 reps to go for Uldis Upenix. Top part of your screen, Nika Majidez, he's gonna finish. Uldis Upenix will get across the finish line. Just edging out. In lane number 1, walking across the finish line is Mark Carmona. And the clock doesn't stop until you get to your mat. And it looks like we're about 6 inches away from that. As Luka Vunjak on the right side of your screen. And it's wild to think that Luka Vunjak and Uldis Upenix were at the top 2 of the leaderboard, but after this, they find themselves nearly in the bottom 2 of this heat. As the leaderboard is gonna get a big shakeup going into the 3rd and final day of competition starting tomorrow, but Jelle Hosta, event win, sitting in 5th overall. And based off what happened with our top 2 athletes, we might see him move closer and closer to a 1st place position when it's all said and done going into day 3.
Yeah, so we saw really good pacing from Jelle Hosta, just, taking his time through those first few rounds. Upenix took the early lead, but then we saw him struggle from round 3 onwards, as we said, got an early no rep on the box jump overs, but then really it was all about Jelle Hosta and trying to set that time, or get that time from heat 3 and Anyolo Kai. Jukic brothers then put on a bit of a show towards the end. That last event, or last round, sorry, seeing Luka beat Lazar and Jelle finish with the top time.
Jelle Hosta top time at 100 points, and based off who finished ahead of him, we might see him at the top of the leaderboard. Let's go down to Lauren Smith.